Although the name of this channel is eBiz Corey, I'm actually a contractor in Florida, and over the last 10 years I've started, invested in, and sold a few home service contracting businesses. Right now I currently own an epoxy flooring business in Southwest Florida. And one of the key drivers behind my success in these businesses has been my ability to grow the sales largely through digital marketing. So my skin is in the game when it comes to this stuff. Although I don't own a roofing company and haven't owned a roofing company, I have owned a business that was incidental to roofing. One of the major services we offered was gutters, and we also did other exterior contracting work like pavers, soffit and fascia, vinyl siding, other types of siding as well, exterior painting, stuff like that. So through the course of business, I've had a lot of interaction with roofers, and one of the things that always comes up when we're having discussion about business and such is, why are the pay-per-click costs for roofers so high? In major markets, you're looking at $100 to $150 a click. That is not uncommon at all. On the lower side of things, pretty much anywhere in the United States, $30 to $40 a click is the low side range just to get somebody to click on your ad. Like, that doesn't even mean that it turns into business. That means that somebody could click on your ad and then hit the back button a second later, and they hardly even let the landing page load, and then they're out of there, and you got to pay for that. Why are the costs so high? Well, I'm going to share my insight and experience into that, and we're also going to take a look at some landing pages for roofers, and I'm going to discuss and share my insight, my 2 cents, my experience into what I think is the best thing that you can do when you're running pay-per-click ads as a roofer to ultimately, I don't want to say combat the high costs, because that's borderline impossible here, as we're going to see, but to ultimately be the most efficient with your budget. So first of all, when it comes to the high costs, a lot of people will say, and the first thing they always point out is, well, the cost of a roof is a lot. To re-roof a home, depending on where you're at, I know in Southwest Florida, Naples, Fort Myers area, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, it's going to have tile roof. You're typically on the low side looking at 30 grand, high side 50 grand, right? That's a lot of money. So therefore, the costs are just naturally higher for pay-per-click. That is not what I'm going to say the direct factor behind it, but that is a contributing indirect factor in the sense that it lets people spend more money than they should, right? A lot of contractors, and this happens not just to contractors, but all business owners, they look at it and they say, okay, our sales are this, as a percentage of revenue, here's our advertising spend, and that's fine by me. And naturally, the cost being so high on roofing, that inflates or trickles down into the cost of pay-per-click advertising. But as I said, that is not the main direct factor that I see. To sum it up, the main direct factor is the fact that simply nobody is accurately tracking their cost per conversion and what ultimately translates into a sale. So let me just show you how I know this and how I can say this so confidently. Right? When we Google roofing contractors, which I did, and we open up some tabs, we look at the pages. And what I'm looking for is a direct response marketer. And keep in mind, I do own online businesses as well, where we're running very, very, very high volume direct response ads across the United States, generating leads in the financial services and insurance type of spaces. And in those cases, it is not uncommon for us to be paying $100 plus a click. So, when I'm looking at these pages, and from my own experience running ads to home service landing pages, none of these pages have a direct conversion event that they are tracing or tracking. So when we land on this page, we can see services, roof types, projects, about us, contact us. What do we want this user to do? I haven't seen the phone number yet. And then way down here at the very bottom, you see 2 phone numbers that I can tell are not being tracked because they would have loaded and kind of flashed like a different number real quick. Unless you're looking for it, you won't see it. But they're not tracking conversions here. This person is just running ads, as business owner or whoever's behind this business is just running ads to this page, and that's it. Like, they literally have no idea what anybody is doing and how many people are converting, yet alone who's actually turning into profit. This page right here, same thing. User lands here, they can go all across the website. There's a phone number, there's a contact us. What happens if we scroll down? We've got an email as well, right? So there's all kinds of stuff. There's 3 actions this user can take when they come here to make contact, aside from going all over the internet. And same thing, we'll see it on this page again. Here we've got a phone number. We've got a contact page, probably is where that goes. We have the phone number again. We've got a chat button down here. And then We've got this thing which probably lets somebody get pre-approved, pre-qualify for a financing offer, right? So there's so many different things that this user can do, and they can go to any page on this website. To go to the core principle kind of advertising and pay-per-click advertising is pay-per-click advertising is a direct response marketing method, right? So the user has an issue. That's why they're searching roofing out already. You want to say, hey, we can solve your issue, and here's how you contact us and here's what we want you to do. And you want to identify and drive the user to making the most valuable point of contact with your business. Okay, so let's look at an example here, and we're going to look at HomeAdvisor. I'm not going to show publicly the landing pages that I've ran for my businesses, which are still in use today, but they follow the same principles as what HomeAdvisor uses, right? Look at this landing page for HomeAdvisor, and mind you, HomeAdvisor probably spends more money on pay-per-click ads for roofing than anyone else. Maybe than everyone else combined. They are up there at the top for any query that you look for when it comes to roofing. They're not doing this because they're losing money, and they're not doing this in an inefficient manner. So here's the page that it comes to. And look at how different this is from these pages, right? Where you can go all over the website. HomeAdvisor is a great big website with all kinds of baloney on it. But they don't let this user go there. They want this user to do one thing, and that is compare quotes from top-rated roof repair and replacement pros. And what do they want that user to do? What do they want that user to manually do to do this and take that action? They want that user to start by inputting their zip code. And if they do that, they're going to run through this funnel here, and this is going to consider a conversion or recognize a conversion when the user gets to the very end of this and ultimately submits their quote request. That is the only thing you can do on this page. Now, naturally, you're not HomeAdvisor, right? So what should you do as a local business? Well, as a local business, the best, most solid point of contact you can have as a home service business is getting somebody to pick up the phone and dial the phone number and talk to you on the phone. So for that, you might want to run, and I do specifically for my own businesses, I run landing pages that only have the phone number visible. They show some information about the business, and there's a phone number, and it says call now to get an estimate, or call now to speak with our team, or call now to speak with our project advisors, whatever we're doing in the business. It varies from, I don't want to say varies from time to time, but it varies occasionally and varies on the type of business. That is the only one thing that you will see on the page. If we come back here to the search results up here, we'll see the local service ads, right? Check this out. You click on one of this thing and look at how little information is here. This one has a phone number and a send request button. The send request button doesn't come up on all of them, but what Google is tracking here is the phone numbers or the send request. So they have two clearly defined conversion events on this page. If we go to some of these others, we will probably see like this one. Notice it's just that phone number. And there's really not much here other than saying, hey, we're a roofing company. That's clear. And we've got a bunch of good reviews and we're Google guaranteed. These are the pages that Google is ultimately funneling people into with the local service ads. And they're not doing that because the advertising principles don't work. All right, they're not saying, hey, you can go visit Resolute Roofing's About Us page, their Contact Us page, their services page, and you can pre-qualify for financing, and you can chat now, and you can submit a web form, and you can call. They are tracking specifically defined conversion events. And I'm not too familiar with the local service ads. I don't run them. I stick more into the pay-per-click type of thing here. But in roofing, they're very big. But I would guess that with these types of ads, you can opt to have the user either send you a request or call, and it's probably the same price. And Resolute Roofing here has probably noticed that, hey, we would much rather have somebody just pick up the phone and speak to us on the phone than just submit a little text request, because the user has to take that manual step. They have to show more conviction to actually getting a quote request, and then you actually have the ability to make an impact and a first impression on them when you get them on the phone. So that is the big thing here. Roofing contractors simply are not tracking the conversions that come through their websites. And in these three examples that I pulled up right here, I can tell you that none of these three are tracking conversions. Otherwise, you would see pages that are much, much different. Now, here's the thing about conversions. Google Ads, because Google knows that you want to see conversions, Google starts making what I call pseudo conversions. So, for example, one of the things that they count as a conversion is when somebody clicks on your map and requests directions to your business. So if you're running ads, your ads might show up here in the map, right? And if we click on directions, boom, Google counts that as a conversion. Somewhere in here, you might run across a phone call button, right? Well, if you click on that, Google counts that as a conversion, but that does not mean that they connected. In fact, very few of them will actually connect, because when you're using like an iPhone or any modern smartphone, the phone will pop up after you click on that phone number, the phone number button or the call now button. It'll say, do you wish to connect to this number? Do you wish to dial this number? And many users are just simply like, yeah, nope, so there's that friction in there, and Google's saying, hey, we got a conversion. Look at all these conversions we're getting here. And the pay-per-click agencies that are running the ads either just pass them off to the actual business as conversions and success, or the businesses themselves that have somebody, whether that's the owner or somebody internally that's running the ads, looks at it and says, oh, Google says we're getting conversions. We're doing great. We're just going to keep spending money on this stuff. But ultimately, you're really not tracking the conversion event. And as a prime example here, look at Home Advisor. The only thing they count as a conversion is when somebody submits an estimate request. There's nothing else on this page. Go back to the Google local service ads. That phone number right there is being tracked through Google for a connected phone call, I know. I think Google might even listen to some of the phone calls, but when that number gets dialed, Google is actually tracking that phone call and duration of the phone call, and ultimately through that. So they're paying, or they're charging their local service ads based on when somebody dials or sends a request. Boom, conversions right there, valuable conversions at that. And then, as we can see from this example right here, not all of them have that send message request. And I think the companies that are not using that have clearly figured out, hey, if we take that off, people will call. So for example, right, like let's just say you have that send message request on there. You're running it like this, and you get 100 people that will make contact with you. 50 of them will call, 50 of them will send a request. Well, the send requests are only worth 10% of what a phone call is, because the phone call, you actually get that opportunity to sell. These send requests, they have low intent right from the very get-go. And not only that, but then you have to work to get them on the phone, and they had low intent from the get-go, so they're unlikely to buy, right? They're less valuable. So if you have, just say, a 50-50 split, you take away that send request button, what I've found is then say 25% will go over here and call. The other 25% will just fuck off because they only wanted to send a request because their intent level was so low. But now you've gotten much higher quality on everybody, and they're all, direct calls. And with that, Google is optimizing for people that are actually connecting that phone call, and will subsequently show your ads to more people that are likely to take that conversion action. Now, I don't do this using local service ads, as I said, but I apply these same fundamental principles using a landing page that I run here in pay-per-click, and then using call tracking phone numbers so that when the user actually picks up the phone, dials the phone number, and the call lasts more than 60 seconds, and it's a first-time caller, that triggers a conversion event, and that goes back to Google. Google ultimately optimizes for that event. So yeah, I think I've gone on and on about this enough. The big thing here and why the costs are high is simply roofers aren't tracking their conversions. They don't understand who's actually turning into a sale, and subsequently Google gives them vanity metrics, pseudo conversions, that ultimately makes them feel like their ads are being successful, so they just keep dumping more money into it. If you want to be successful with it, you have to have one clearly defined conversion event and track that. So I hope you guys found this helpful and insightful. If you did, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. I'm signing off on this one.